All right, so I'm sitting here with Gian Jadan. He's an alumni from the Metal Beavers. Gian, can you just talk about what you're doing here, just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm here to talk about my experience throughout being a part of Metal Beavers. And what was the second question?
Sorry. Just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've always liked dealing with machines, fixing. I liked exploring. When I first entered the robotics team, I had this notion that, this could be my time to like actually put what I knew about power tools, making stuff, and put into use. Once I joined, I didn't expect it to be as it was. Being a part of a group and actually thinking and working on making a robot and the design of it and how it's supposed to function. And once we did it sometimes we had failure and we always had a revision.
What year did you join?
I joined it in my sophomore year.
What year was that? Like 2016,
17?
2016. And so you joined as a sophomore. Why didn't you join as a ninth grader?
The reason being was at the time I was trying to get used to high school. I was not very open, to be quite honest. I was more closed. I didn't really speak out about that much until sophomore year. Then I wanted to test out new things. I joined swimming, then robotics, and then all types of other clubs. And robotics really did help me open up a bit, to talk to more people, to do more things.
Right. Do you, how was that juggling, swimming, and robotics?
It was a task. It was an experience, you could say. From that, I learned to organize myself more. I also realized that what I wanted to do, I didn't really want to pursue swimming as a career or anything like that. It was more just a hobby.
Okay.
So when it came to senior year, I was like, I really don't need to juggle all this stuff. I could let go of some things. So I would let go of swimming and I would do more robotics.
Do you regret quitting swimming?
Well, not necessarily. I actually feel like I should have quit it a bit sooner. To be quite honest. I feel like if I quit it more sooner, I would have been more focused and more dedicated to robotics than I was.
Do you remember when it was a parent-teacher conference and I think I told your mom and your sister, I told them two things, and one of the things was tell Gian to quit swimming. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That was very early.
That was really early.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was the first year. Right?
Yeah, it was the first year.
It was the first year.
Yeah, it was the first year you joined robotics because I just saw that you were very talented in terms of designing, and you were really interested in CAD. Like, you were good at CAD. I don't know if you were interested in it, but you were very good at it. Yeah, you had this like affinity for CAD and drawing. Your details were always there when you were designing parts for the robot or just any inventions. Do you feel like there's a one single takeaway from your experience with the Metal Beavers, robotics? Do you think there's one major single takeaway?
Like from what I accomplished, did?
Yeah, just like anything that you would say, wow, this is because of robotics.
Well, it was mostly actually the designing part, which this was a first time experience for me, especially during the first and second year of robotics. When I actually designed and actually sketched out some of the parts for the robot, and we actually implemented it. Yeah. And actually designed how the the intake was going to work and stuff like that. It really surprised me, and especially my CAD skills, it did improve during my time in robotics. And yeah,
it's an interesting concept that you could have an idea in your head and then you kind of like scribble it out on paper and then it becomes like a physical thing, like a physical contraption. You ever thought like you'd be inventing or creating things?
yeah. I mean, I've always liked doing that since I was little. I always used to like to draw and like make it out of Legos or something like that.
Yeah.
So doing that actually in robotics it's pretty nice.
Did you ever make one of those crazy Lego creations? You ever seen some of those big crazy?
Yeah, I would make towers. There were some of the Star Wars ones that I made.
Yeah.
I can't. It was nice.
I remember going down to the Lego store somewhere. I don't know if it was QCM or in the city, but they had like a giant Millennium Falcon in Legos.
Yeah.
And you could buy that and it's like thousands of dollars to purchase like the whole thing.
You know those ones that they're kind of like the ripoffs?
Yeah, oh, Mega Bloks.
Mega Bloks. I would go with that instead.
Okay, yeah. Can't relate. Never owned Legos or Mega Bloks. My parents didn't want me to play with blocks. Okay, so tell me if there's anything that you have learned from robotics, whether they're hard skills like CADing or soft skills like leadership, that you have taken with you into after high school.
Yeah, I did take some of my leadership skills, presentation skills, CADing skills, definitely, towards college. Also, not only that, but also my people skills, talking to people more. I've really made a group of friends. IEEE, I joined that club and I was able to use
IEEE.
Yes.
Okay.
I was able to use those skills for the robot that we're creating right now. We're currently in the prototyping phase. Yeah. I worked with the chassis and the suspension.
Ooh, sounds familiar.
Yeah. It really reminded me of the chassis that we would make, but it was pre-designed. We actually had to make this our own.
Oh, okay, yeah. So FRC's chassis is pre-designed, whereas IEEE's, that's all from scratch.
Yeah, that's all from scratch. And just like being collaborating with that along with other people that did know CAD. Yeah. It was a pretty good experience.
How did you hear about IEEE? Because they're like an international engineering.
I was a part of a living learning community, and some of them were mechanical engineers, sophomore to juniors, and they were a part of IEEE, so they would get me involved in there, and I was able to enter the club and join the mechanical team.
That's really cool. What's been your experience balancing all this stuff in college?
It was
joining this and
like previously, I was able to actually organize myself. I usually made myself a calendar depending on what meetings I had and what classes I had. And even like scheduling myself my own lunches, and stuff like that. And since I had that skills to organize myself, it was easier for me to like join clubs and do and go to classes, eat and stuff like that.
What would you say to someone who's like, "Whoa, Gian, you're scheduling when you eat or you're scheduling when you're sleeping"? Don't you think that's too much?
Yeah, I mean, but in college you do forget to eat. It's true. Like you do so much work and you're like, oh wait, do I have to eat? It's true. Like sometimes I would eat once a day.
Oh wow.
And that was pretty bad. And I would feel pretty like you wouldn't focus well. So after that, like that was towards the beginning of the semester. So towards the middle and towards the end, I would organize myself and actually schedule my stuff.
How did you get this like idea of creating a schedule? Like, where did that come from?
Like I said before, I was having an issue with balancing swimming, robotics. I also joined United Nations and other types.
Oh yeah, I remember
clubs.
that.
Yeah, and
you ever did lacrosse?
Lacrosse, no, okay. I have not gone to lacrosse. And I needed a solution. And I remember one of my friends, I think you know her, Beverly. She had her little journal And she always had like a check mark, like, oh, do this, do this, do this. I was like, okay. So I inspired from that, and I started creating my own schedule.
Yeah.
And I implemented that into Google Calendar. And then from there, it was easier to like, okay, I have this event at this time, submit that. And from there, I would implement that to robotics and to college.
That's nice. Nice shout out to Google too. This podcast isn't sponsored by Google, by the way.
But I did apply for a Google internship, so
yeah, maybe they're listening.
Yeah,
maybe hook you up. Talk about that internship. What's that internship you applied for?
I applied for Google, but I also applied for Jet Propulsion Laboratories for NASA.
Yeah,
and CIT, which was California Institute of Technology.
Yeah,
yeah. I was able to do that because I knew some friends that were also going for Tesla, for Google, also Bloomberg and other type of companies. So I decided to also enroll into some internships.
This little school in Jamaica, Queens has been outputting a lot of great students, like doing great things. We had some alumni. One of them is working as a chemical engineer for the Port Authority of New York City. Another one, she is an intern at Tesla, actually. So it'd be great if you get this internship with Google or with NASA. That's awesome.
Also Tesla. I think I applied for 3 positions for Tesla. One of them being their external design for their cars.
Okay.
One of them. Another one was for their motor.
Did you see the Cybertruck reveal?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I was like, wow, this is like something that you could really make easily in CAD. or you could say a Roblox game.
Yeah. Yeah, the design is really different. Elon Musk talked about how he wanted to change the way people think about pickup trucks.
Yeah.
And it definitely, I agree, it definitely looks like Roblox or very basic geometry.
Very like low poly car.
I actually pre-ordered it. I'm excited about that.
It wasn't that expensive.
Yeah, the pre-order is $100.
Yeah. I would, if I had the internship money, I think I would also pre-order the car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested because I would love to drive a Tesla. I'd love all those looks. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of interesting press with Tesla.
Imagine if I get that internship and I actually design the second truck.
Imagine Model 2. Yeah,
that would be fun.
Where do you see yourself? Like, I know you were kind of interested in high school in like astronomy, physics, engineering. Like, what's your major now, and where do you actually see yourself like in the future? Do you see yourself majoring in that?
I mean, I've been up and down. I haven't really decided on what major I actually want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. It's either mechanical engineering, computer engineering, or just physics. The reason why I want to choose one of those 3 is because one day my goal is to actually go in outer space and actually do space exploration.
Oh, wow.
And being a part of either the rocket systems or actually being a physicist and exploring, seeing how theories could be realized and maybe explore through black holes or stuff like that. But that's like a big thing. I'm not sure if that will actually happen, but that is one of my goals and why I want to pursue one of these majors. Yeah.
I mean, that internship with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, that would be a great opportunity. So many things come out of that.
Yeah.
That whole laboratory existed because of NASA needing to create rockets, And
that's something that I would really like to do, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Make one of the rockets, and maybe it could be involved into the Mars exploration. We never know.
If you got invited to go to Mars, like in 2030, 2040, whenever they're doing that Mars colony, would you go?
That's an interesting question. And to be fair, if I were to go there, I'm not coming back.
You're right. No.
I'm not coming back unless if I survive in my 80s or 100s. If it were around maybe 2050 and there were people coming back from Mars, I think I would go.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go. I think I'd get like separation anxiety. Sometimes I think it's nice to be alone. But I know my friends and family won't be coming on that expedition. It's kind of weird.
It is. And I heard that if you go there, you could get a bit taller.
Oh yeah, because the gravity, it's weaker, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, maybe I might go.
Wouldn't time also change depending?
I think
if
so.
you're in Mars to Earth.
Yeah, I mean, as you're living there, I mean, it's a different type of gravity that's there. So yeah, time would appear differently for us, Earthlings and then Martians. Wow, very fascinating to think about.
Very fascinating.
Do you ever watch any of those like space movies? Like
I did watch Interstellar, and I really liked it. Especially when they were going through the black hole, and how they were like going through the horizon, the event horizon,
right?
And how they were like, okay, we have to sacrifice this type of mass in order to exert that much velocity, and he sacrificed himself for the girl.
It was really good. That movie was really good. I think just in terms of how well the physics was communicated, just the simulations, just the animations, the CG, like it was really good. And it really tied in like time as being the cyclical thing, sacrificing that, thinking like it was a ghost at the beginning. Oh, spoiler alert. People who haven't watched Interstellar. Oops. Just spoiled the whole movie. What about some of the other space movies? Have you watched The Martian?
No, I actually haven't. I plan to watch it. I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, that one was really good too. Matt Damon, he's one interesting actor. There's another one with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, where they're like in a space station and it like crashes in orbit.
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not quite
Gravity.
sure. Gravity. Yes.
I've seen that's also you've seen that one?
Yes.
What did you think of that?
It gave me a little bit of anxiety. Imagine you heard like detached from the craft and she's just floating there, thinking that she would survive or not.
No, that's a horrifying feeling, and you want to be an astronaut or going to space one day. Do you have that fear?
I mean, sometimes I live life off to the edge, so I feel like no matter what, I would still go to space.
Okay. I think actually they NASA astronauts, they train for those specific moments of some type of catastrophe on a spacewalk, which it's never happened, thank goodness. But I think they are trained in case those things happen. All right. How long are you on break for?
About a month and a half. I'll be coming back around January 24th, back into Bing. But far from that, I feel like the next semester will be pretty light compared to this semester.
Have you already registered for your classes? So what are you taking next semester?
I'm taking astronomy.
Okay.
Chem 108, writing 111, and calculus.
The astronomy class, is that during the day or is that more in the evening?
Evening.
It is in the evening.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't like morning classes. I hated it during the first semester. I sometimes I would miss class just because I would sleep slow late. I'm used to sleeping around 3 to 4 a.m.
Oh wow.
And waking up at 8. So there's that. So I chose more afternoon classes, except calculus. Calculus is at 10 a.m.
Oh. Now, is that a large lecture or is that like a smaller?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
It's in a place called Appalachian, which is up in the hills. So I would have to see for myself. I think it's around 40 students. I don't think there's that much.
Oh,
for
okay.
calculus.
That's pretty a smaller lecture.
Astronomy is more of a lecture class. Probably around 200, 300 students.
Now, how do you pick your classes? Do you like look at professor ratings? Do you listen to what your friends say?
Yeah,
you're just your advisor.
I listen to what my friends say. Some of my advisors would tell me. And astronomy they tell me this is a pretty easy class from both my advisors and peers. So I'm looking forward for that. Far from that, chem is probably the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tell me that, it's going to suck. You're going to fail a lot. And I'm like, yeah, that's very true.
Sounds familiar. Yeah. I mean, I failed my first time taking chemistry, general chemistry. And that's because I did not go to the lecture. It was a lecture hall of about 400 students, and there were 4 exams. And for each one of those exams, I had promised myself, okay, I'll go to the lecture. But I was like, I don't want to wake up. It was a morning class. It was 7:30, I think that lecture was at. So I wasn't with it. So, but I retook it and then I ended up getting a 4.0.
It sounds similar to, wait, what?
No, I retook it the next year, not the next semester because it wasn't offered in the spring. But the following year I retook it.
general chemistry is 107, 108, or is it?
I think it's different for each college. Like for me, it was 141. So it was
Ooh.
Chem 141. So I think it's different in each college.
For me, to be quite, we had similar to you 4 exams.
Yeah.
I didn't do so hot in either of them, but I planned for the next year for 108 that I would do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a lab that accompanied or a recitation or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was that?
My TA is pretty strict. Like the labs that we had to submit,
Uh-huh.
every little thing, she would like, whoop, whoop, whoop,
Yeah. Take points off.
take points off.
Yeah.
And that really screwed up with my lab grade.
Did you have a lab partner?
Yes, I did.
And how was working with someone else? Like your whole kind of grade
It
depending
was
on them?
good. She helped me a lot.
Okay.
With a lot of the equations and stuff.
Were you doing a lot of what is it? Titrations
Yep.
and turning liquids from white to pink or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun until you had to do the lab and then the calculations.
Did you break any lab equipment?
No.
Did you have to pay for anything?
Some of the lab equipment was broken.
Oh, really?
It was only the titration, the thing that you just open and then the liquid comes out. The top was broken. And I was like, okay.
I remember my lab partner had broken a beaker because they were trying to stop it. They had to like put a cork and they pressed a little too hard into the cork and it broke the beaker. And they had to pay, like they were billed on their tuition. They had to replace that beaker.
For us, I mean, if we broke something, we just went to the back room and then they'll just give us a new one. I'm not sure if we really had to pay for it. I think it was already part of our tuition.
Oh, lucky. Yeah.
But I think it was only one replacement or two. I'm not sure.
What's campus food like?
I mean, most of our food is run by Dixodexo, and that's also a company that also goes for jail sales. It's an international company though. The food is mediocre, you could say. There's some outside foods. There's a place called Chicken Bap. I'm not sure.
Chicken Bap, BAP?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they say that's halal food, but to be quite honest, it's fake halal food.
Okay.
It has a weird taste to it.
Are you finding that the food upstate is like not good? Not New York City food?
Yes, because it's less diverse. Yeah. I mean, I would love to get my empanada, but unfortunately, there's no empanada anywhere in Canada. Yeah. I mean, they had some events because they were celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Mm-hmm. So they were like, oh, empanada Thursdays. And I was like, okay.
Was it good? Were the empanadas good?
They were mediocre.
What about some Chinese food? That's something that I found, like New York Chinese food is so different compared to other places. Just New York City Chinese food.
Yeah, it was different. I mean, some of the chicken was a little bit. I have no idea how to describe the flavor, but there was a lot of Chinese food there, and it was all right.
Oh, I just realized it's probably all the pigeon rats and other things that they put into the Chinese food here. That's probably why it's so good. Yeah. The other places probably use real chicken.
Huh. But I remember going to a KFC once, and the fried chicken there actually tastes like
chicken,
that was actually fried. And I was like, wow, why is this so? It tastes like home fried chicken. And I'm like, wow,
it's different. Maybe it's not so super manufactured outside the city because there's like millions of people.
Yeah,
we bustling around the city.
Apple farms and stuff like that
on campus.
Oh no, near the campus.
Oh,
and the apples are really good.
You've had some of those fresh apples?
Yeah, they have all different. I didn't know there was different type of apples until I went there. They had different sections of apples, and I tasted it. They were pretty good.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Michigan, there was like cherries and other different fruits that were kind of like its own Michigan thing. But I don't really know. I think each state is known for something. I don't really know what Michigan is known for. Who knows?
Huh.
Do you think you might do a study abroad program?
Yeah, I plan on either my junior or maybe senior year to do a study abroad program in the University of Leipzig, which is in Germany.
Oh.
I plan to do their engineering program there. But in order for me to do that, I would have to do 3 years of German. So I have to learn how to speak German. but I guess that's all right.
Do you think you're gonna start taking a German class? Maybe.
Probably in my second year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever, besides Spanish, do you know any other languages in English?
Nah, not necessarily. I'm trying to learn Mandarin a
Oh,
bit. Yeah, because I have some friends that are Chinese, so hopefully I can surprise them once I come back.
is English your first language or is Spanish your first language?
It's kind of difficult because I started talking both at the same time.
Okay.
Because it's home Spanish, but TV and school was English.
I heard, I mean, I know a little bit of Japanese, but those Eastern languages like Mandarin, Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, it's harder to learn those languages if English is like your native language.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard because it's kind of like those languages are very tonal. Like they have a whole different structure compared to some of these other languages. This is fascinating.
I tried speaking some of the words there. Like my friend would tell me some words and I would try to speak it, and it was pretty good. I mean, I was able to like pronounce it kind of well.
Do you want to try speaking some Mandarin without sounding racist?
No.
Okay. All right. Fair. That's a safer decision.
Yeah.
Okay. How's your family been? Like, have they been annoying? Like, have they been calling you every day or?
I mean, I would
given you
always
some-
have to call them because they're pretty worried about me.
Okay.
One time I didn't call them for one day because I was doing a lot of work. And the next morning I wake up and there's a knocking on my door saying UPD. I'm like, wait,
Whoa.
what? I was like, what did I do wrong? And I opened the door. I was like, your father's calling.
What?
Yes.
So your father called the university police department?
Yes. And then they're like, oh, can we get some of your information? And please call your dad. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I look at my phone and it was at night. They were calling me like 5 times. And I was like, oh, man.
What time was that? They came banging on the door.
It was probably around 10 in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what did your father want? It was so urgent.
He just wanted to say hello. He just wanted to see what I was doing. Like, man, he thought I was killed or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. What about your sister?
I mean, she's chill about it. She just asks how my college life is and stuff like that. I just tell her it's all right. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that.
Your mom?
My mom also the same with my dad. She's pretty worried about it.
Freaked out.
Freaked out too.
Yeah.
But she's less freaked out than my dad. My dad actually freaks out. He actually has a panic attack saying like, oh my God, where's my child?
Oh, maybe if your parents listen to this, what would you tell them?
I mean, I'd be like, this is how I feel. But also only my dad would probably understand more than my mom. But that's what I would say though.
What about Alex? He's currently on the robotics team. How's your relationship with him? Do you think it's gotten better?
He's tried to attach to me more. He misses me a lot because he's like there, but there's my sister sometimes, but she's also in college.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes he's lonely there.
Yeah.
So now since I'm there, he's kind of more happy that I'm actually spending more time with him.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm hoping that if he goes to college, he either comes near me or somewhere like probably Syracuse or what's that other university that Muhammad is in? MD. Not MD. Who is in? I forgot the other university. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, whatever that university is.
Oh, Cornell.
Oh, Cornell.
Cornell. Yeah. Well, either
Who's
one of
in
those.
Cornell? Muhammad?
No, I forgot who got accepted to Cornell.
Tamzeed.
Tamzeed.
Tamzeed got into and Anissa. Anissa is also in.
Yeah. I kind of mixed them. My apologies. But
do you keep up with some of your classmates, like your graduating class? Like
not really. I mean, I know most of them went to Queens College,
which is right there.
Yeah, which is right there, but I haven't really caught up to them. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing or anything.
You've been more updated with the members, like your friends that you left on the robotics team.
Yeah.
That's
seeing
nice.
how they're doing. Probably, I think either Freddie or Solomon are trying to go Binghamton too. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Freddie actually recently got accepted into University of Buffalo.
Yeah.
So congrats to him. That was like an instant decision thing. He was kind of nervous about that.
Really?
We've had a lot of successful college acceptances recently.
Yeah. Missouri got what's it called? He got finals for Questbridge. Which is
did.
Pretty. That's a big accomplishment.
That's really good. MD Hossein actually got matched for University of Chicago.
Yeah.
MD Anindo and Satuna, they both got posse matched with Lafayette College.
Yeah.
So they're going to be going to Pennsylvania. Different culture, different experience there. Interesting. So it's really cool. Like we've had all these. Oh, and then Muhammad just got into Cornell. Actually, Muhammad Chowdhury.
Yeah, Muhammad. Yeah, that's
Muhammad Chowdhury. So this is it's exciting. You know.
Yeah. I'll probably see him there.
Yeah. Cornell's going to be tough. You know, the two students that I know that are there, one was a former robotics member, Tamzeed.
Mm-hmm.
He has expressed that it's a struggle. And so has Anissa. Anissa came back. Anissa Aladdin, she graduated a few years ago. She came back and she said, she came back, I think last month or earlier this month, saying that how difficult Cornell is. And, she wishes maybe she was prepared a bit more of how rigorous an Ivy League could be, you know?
There were some students that actually went to Bing and then transferred to Cornell. So I know some of them. And they say, I mean, some friends also been into Cornell and they were at Bing and they came back to see the experience. And they would say it's kind of depressing. It's kind of sounds like you want to kill yourself. But, and that's what they're like. Wow. They're like, oh, good thing we're in Bing. We don't feel like killing ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that's the Ivy League reputation. I hope every Ivy League student isn't trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Because that'd be bad. But no, it's definitely like a lot of pressure, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know?
They do receive a lot of pressure for that. I mean, if I were to choose probably another school, I'm not sure whether if I would join another school. I built a really good foundation in that school.
Yeah.
Bloomington, to be quite honest. I made a lot of friends. And I think I would stick to it.
Tell me how you went about, or like what advice would you give to, let's say, some of your robotics brothers and sisters that are listening and they're kind of nervous about going away to college. They're going to be leaving the city, or maybe they're just going to a school in the city. What advice would you give them to make friends, especially if they're not going into a school with anyone they know?
I would tell them to explore, look around, like probably go to your neighbor, be like, hey, how's it going? This is me. I live right here. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like be open. Go to other organizations, clubs, and you'll be open like that. Kind of how robotics is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll really open up to that.
Do you think the robotics team helps its members in being more social like that? Like just randomly approaching people?
There's like last year we had the picnic. We had other events. And those type of events really bring the team together. And especially when we work hard and then we need a break.
Yeah.
So if we have an event for that, it really brings us more closer.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And yeah, it makes it more like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hearing that word when you guys describe the robotics team as like a family, like a second family.
Yeah.
And for some, it might be their first family. I really like hearing that because it's a nice feeling to belong, you know, feel like a place where you feel safe and you belong to something. That's cool. Gian, is there anything else you would like to share with anyone on the robotics team or people listening? This is going to be on our Patreon.
Yeah.
Patron only, like only our patrons will be able to hear this. No one else. It's not for the public. So is there anything else you'd like to say?
Nah, I mean, I don't have anything on top of my head to say, but I will just say to my robotics team, just keep up the good work. I see that you guys are really improving and I'm happy for that.
Okay. Thank you, Gian. Thank you very much for sitting down with me. for this unnamed podcast. We don't have a name or title for it yet. We don't have an intro. We don't have an outro. But thank you for being one of the first guests to talk. This is Gian Jadan, an alumni from the robotics team. And thank you.